Hello, everyone. This is Monsef Afkar, and thank you so much for joining us in this new call of Your Divine Uniqueness. So, very happy to have you with us here, whether on the live call or on the replay. And also really excited that Patrick Prohaska is back on the show. He joined us several times. I think many of you already know him and know how powerful the attunements and the activations that every time he facilitates, whether on the live show. Or for those who work with him through his programs, and also like the messages that he brings to us is always relevant to the themes that we are called to go deeper into, maybe for healing or expansion or remembering our true gifts, and also the challenges that we may be experiencing as empath, starseeds, or light workers. Like you may feel identified by any of them, or maybe in a different way. But it's mostly about how can we embrace our uniqueness in a safe way and share our lights with the world. So for those of you who are new to him, he is a teacher, healer, and author, and specializes in consciousness expansion and trauma recovery. And the subject today is your Starseed Survive and Thrive guide. And so the discussion will be about how we can flourish in a modern society where we can feel as an outsider because of our spirituality, or we feel the need to connect with like-minded people and community where we feel heard and seen and understood. And also he will be sharing about how can we deal with that pain of isolation or feeling abandoned or alone, and then how we can really thrive in while sharing our purpose and living our purpose and mission. So it will be very, very inspiring, and also we will have a Q&A where you can ask him your questions. So as always, if you are on Zoom, you can raise your hand by pressing reactions, then raise hand. If you are on the phone, you can press *9, and also you can type your questions on the chat boxes on Zoom and on YouTube. And yeah, so with that, Patrick, welcome back to the show. Very happy to have you with us.
Thank you very much. It's always a joy to connect with you and everyone in the group. So, yes, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm
Mm.
very happy to have you back here with us. And so would you like maybe to share briefly a little bit about your work? So for those who are listening to you for the first time can have an idea.
Yes, I do see some names on the screen that I've never seen before. So this is really awesome. It's a joy to connect with every single one of you. So several years ago, I was in the restaurant industry. In fact, I spent several decades in management in the restaurant industry, striving to create something that would give me, grandeur in the world. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be well known. I wanted to be loved and so forth. And I basically hated every moment of it because it was nothing but ego clashing and struggling to create something that was ultimately meaningless. I was out of touch with what my core mission and purpose were in this lifetime. And I believe that every single one of us has taken on human form. We're incarnating in human form for a reason. We all have a purpose, we all have a mission. It's not up to me to tell you what your mission is. It's up to you to figure it out. And it took me decades and decades to figure it out. And lots of treading water, lots of ego clashes, lots of emotional breakdowns, and so forth. My health was failing. And then finally, I just left the restaurant industry altogether and decided to embrace my true calling. So, in my mind, I was actually groping around in the dark, trying to figure out what my purpose in the world is. Now, I know my purpose in the world is to spread joy and to create order out of chaos and to help people be happy and healthy and thrive. And at the core of all of that is spreading joy far and wide. So in the restaurant industry, I was kind of doing that. I chose a career that was somewhat in alignment with my mission and purpose, which is to spread joy to other people. But I wasn't doing it in the way that was deeply meaningful for me, and therefore it always felt empty. I always had a level of resentment about the unnecessary drama that would often arise in the restaurant industry and so forth. And so now I'm in alignment with my calling and purpose. And one of the things I like to do with people is help them come into alignment with their mission and purpose as well. So you can finally start doing something that is deeply meaningful for you and helps you thrive. And the way I do this is through something called Lightbridge, which is a system I developed that actually more deeply connects you with your higher self. Now, you are eternally connected to your higher self. You are your higher self. But your higher self is you without all of the baggage that you have in your current human incarnation. Your higher self is you without all of the traumatic memories and the limiting belief systems and all the negative expectations and all the ways you've been mistreated in childhood and all the frustration and disappointment that you have felt because you were born into this three-dimensional world in these limited three-dimensional bodies with no guidebook. So in in order to really bring you into deep alignment with who you truly are at your core level, for me, the easiest pathway is to go through the higher self because your higher self knows you intimately. It knows what you need to do in order to get from where you are now to where it is. And Lightbridge is the tool that I use in order to help create that for people. So that's basically all of it in a nutshell. There's a lot more going on there, but if you're interested, you can connect with me and I can give you more information about how it works and what the exact tools are. But for now, that's just, enough we need to know to get started. So thank you, Mansa, for
Yeah.
allowing me to mention all that. Linda says I'm a joyologist. I love that. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Patrick, for the introduction. And so yeah, about the subject today. So we're talking about like the times where we feel maybe isolated or not
Mhm.
feeling connected to others. Sometimes even if we are in a community, but we don't feel that connection because there's a feeling that we are different or misunderstood. And
Yes,
how
that's a
do you see
large
that
part of it.
being experienced in societies we
Yeah.
are living in?
Well, there are several ways to answer that question. The first is that every single one of us here today, and probably the vast majority of people who are living on planet Earth today, actually come from someplace else, from a higher dimensional place where navigating a three-dimensional world doesn't really make much sense. So you, in your history, are probably from a location where you don't have to navigate the three dimensionality. You don't have to, in order to go from here to there, you don't have to pass through every single point in between. You're not subject to linear time. You're not subject to linear space. In fact, linear time and linear space often don't make any sense to a lot of beings that come from higher dimensional realms. The other thing is that in order to navigate this three-dimensional world on its terms, there are certain structures in place in our society that just simply don't make any sense to people who come from elsewhere. For example, the financial system. We have this financial system of exchange in which you pay money in order to receive goods and services. And for most starseeds, it's befuddling. It simply makes no sense whatsoever because the system of exchange is different where you're from. It's energetic. You have an energetic form of exchange with other beings that doesn't involve needing to pass this physical object from you to them in order to get something. So the financial system makes no sense. Some people figure it out, but most of us just struggle with it our entire lives. It's a mystery that we just can't unsolve. And then a lot of us just really aren't motivated to do what we need to do in order to solve that mystery. The physical body has its limitations. A lot of beings are not used to having physical bodies that very quickly, rapidly, grow into something very strong and then quickly shuts down again. It makes no sense. And the flow of energy on the physical level, on a purely physical level, makes no sense. So we tend to be frustrated. Star beings tend to have a number of physical issues that they just can't quite get a handle on. It's difficult to navigate the world that we live in. Other people who are more deeply entrenched in the human experience don't understand you, and they think you're weird. They think you're airy fairy or woo woo or pie in the sky or whatever, and they might actually bully you. So it's difficult to interact with other human beings. It's difficult to navigate the world. It's difficult to figure out the financial system. And for a lot of star beings, the solution isn't to try harder. The solution is to just kind of turn inward and shut down and disconnect and isolate. And then that feels lonely. And it feels doubly lonely for star beings because you come from a place where you are intimately, deeply connected with all the other beings around you at all times. You don't need to be face to face. You don't need to be on Skype or Zoom in order to be connected with another being. You just are connected because you feel the connection. Now, most of you have that, and most of you experience that as your intuition and your empathy. But then, because you can't fully inhabit it, even your empathy after a while begins to work against you. You begin to feel all of the aches and pains and anger that is out there in the world. You feel these waves of fear energy that cascade through the collective consciousness, and it feels bad. And therefore, the solution is often to isolate even further. So, this is a dilemma because you came here for a reason, you have a purpose, you have a mission that you are here to fulfill. And if you shut down and turn inward and isolate, it can be very difficult to complete that mission, whatever it is. And therefore, you either leave this life in failure and go someplace else, or you have to come back and do it all over again, once again entering human form with no guidebook and needing to figure it out again and being at the mercy of your parents who also don't know what's going on and so forth. So, my purpose in helping star beings figure out how to thrive, it's not so much about identifying where you're from and what the characteristics of your people are and so forth. It's about how you can thrive in the here and now. And when I work with people to create mechanisms of communication or even a stargate so that you can travel to your home world and commune with beings that you feel disconnected from in human form, that's not about escapism. It's not about leaving here so you can be there and feel better and then regret or resent coming back again. It's simply about you expanding your perspective so that you can realize that you are here for a reason and then focus on the task at hand in this lifetime, which, let's face it, it's very short. This lifetime is just a tiny little blip in the cosmic timeline. And you may as well, get your work done, while you're here. Yeah, does that answer the question?
Yes, yes, absolutely. It does. Thank you so much for that. And but so you mentioned that there is maybe unconscious behavior or reaction to feeling of isolation is, or maybe being rejected is to isolate ourselves.
Mhm.
And when, because also we hear that we need to sometimes to face that or feel those intense emotions, but it can be very intense and challenging. What will be your guidance when we want to see, to be present and hold the space for the pain that, or the frustration that we may be experiencing?
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is that it's very, very important for you to be gentle with yourself. If you, in your mind, and because other people have told you so, come to the conclusion that your sense of isolation is evidence of your brokenness, or that there's something wrong with you because you prefer to be by yourself, or you get into a fatalistic viewpoint that you'll always be disconnected from other people, you'll never find somebody to love, and so forth, then you simply just create more of what you already have, that is more isolation. So if you're gentle with yourself and recognize that your desire for isolation is a normal, natural reaction to being thrust into a situation that is confusing and quite often very painful, then you can forgive yourself for, if you're in that category of people who really, really is super lonely and yet is scared of going out into the world at the same time. So be gentle with yourself. That's my first recommendation. The second one is that if you shift your internal energies in such a way that you are deeply in alignment with who you truly are at your core, that is, if you're shining with authenticity and you're really in alignment with your authentic self expression, then you radiate an energy that is magnetic, and you attract to you other people and other beings who have similar energetic makeup and who appreciate and love you for who you are. If you have a lot of trauma in your childhood about being bullied, about being treated as different, about being ridiculed for wanting to just isolate and meditate, or you see the world differently and therefore people make fun of you, then after a while you begin to internalize all of that criticism and all of that bullying. And on some level, you begin to believe that it's actually true. And then you begin to radiate an energy of people pick on me, the world is dangerous, nobody likes me, it's impossible to connect with other people. And then that is the energy that you're radiating out into the universe. And by the law of attraction, it gets reflected back to you with more and more opportunities and desire to isolate. So when you shift your internal energy, the world around you shifts. It doesn't mean that bullies cease to exist. It means that they just don't find you interesting anymore and they move on. And that opens the floodgates for other beings who are in alignment with you to come in and take their place. So be gentle with yourself and do whatever it is you need to do to shift your internal energy, to clear away your triggers, to clear away the buttons that have been installed in you that cause you to react when somebody pushes your buttons, clear away the trauma of having been ridiculed and ostracized as a child. And then once all of that is clear, you are like shining with a whole new energy that by the law of attraction guarantees a different experience for you in the world. You don't feel lonely anymore when you're by yourself. And you don't feel that overpowering drive to be by yourself. And you don't have that horrible experience that I know intimately, where you can be in a group of people, you can be at a party with 30, 40, 50 people and still feel like you're all alone in the universe. Been there many, many times. Uh, yeah, so there's some work to be done. And
Yeah.
then once you do that work, then it's really easy for you to do what you need to do to complete your mission. And then it's up to you whether you want to stay or move on. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot going on that needs to be cleared and
Yeah.
shifted and healed.
Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, as you were mentioning that when we shift within, the reality will follow that and will express that. Because also I experienced personally some with some people who maybe there were some maybe we were not aligned or different kind of frequencies, and at some
Mhm.
point they just something happened and either they moved somewhere else or they stopped being in my experience, and
Mhm.
it can happen effortlessly when we shift our focus within. And yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have a mission. We are here to usher in higher dimensionality into this three-dimensional plane. In order for us to usher in higher dimensional awareness into this three-dimensional world, we have to have a deep understanding of the three-dimensional world itself. And that's why we have this experience of incarnation in human form, where most of your gifts, most of your intuitive gifts and so forth are turned off for the most part at birth. And then over time, you figure out how to turn them on again and access higher dimensionality. So this world and the inhabitants of this world have for a very, very long time been living in a purely three-dimensional experience that involves linear time and linear space. So human beings have figured out how to navigate this three-dimensional world. And in order to navigate a purely three-dimensional world, it's not very effective to turn inward and use your inner tools in order to create shifts around you. You have to move the chess pieces on the board in front of you. You have to manipulate external circumstances. And then when you layer upon that the financial system that we have and the knowledge that this physical world has limited resources, and that the human mind in its three-dimensional form loves to categorize and hierarchize things and put everyone in their individual boxes, in every group of people in their box, and figure out which box is more important than the other boxes, and therefore which box is superior to the other boxes. We develop a system that is purely human and purely three-dimensional, in which we are all competing against each other over limited resources. In order for me to have more, you must have less. In order for uh, somebody else to have more, I must be deprived because there's only so much to go around, and so forth. There are a lot of beings who are deeply, deeply invested in that system. They're deeply invested because of their family heritage. They're deeply invested because they are massively wealthy and they love their wealth and they want more of it. And therefore, they are in deep, deep resistance to you doing anything that opens up a whole new set of tools for people to use. So you are ushering in an age in which people can turn inward and realize that you have the power to create your reality. You have the power to create your experience in the world. In fact, you do it all the time through your thoughts, your beliefs, your judgments, your expectations, and so forth. The internal energy that you have, that you radiate outward through the law of attraction, creates your experience in the world. What you deliberately pour energy into, that is actualized in your experience. So most of us have been trained in this human experience to have an aversion to pain, to try to escape pain. And therefore, we focus on the pain that we want to escape rather than whatever it is we want to create instead. And by the law of attraction, that's what we end up creating for ourselves. If you are having money issues and it's practically impossible for you to really think about, imagine, and savor the joy of living in surplus, and instead you are mired in the pain of living in debt and the fear of not being able to pay your paycheck, and that's the energy that you're basking in and that you want to escape, well, then by the law of attraction, that's the energy that you're radiating, and that's what gets reflected back to you. Opportunities for more struggle and strife. So we're not taught how to do that, but you are here to help human beings figure this out as well, and to turn inward and have a whole new set of tools for navigating this three-dimensional world. Higher dimensional tools that everybody has access to, but for most people are just dormant or they're offline. So when you think about it that way, it makes perfect sense that the people who are deeply, deeply invested in the old three-dimensional way of doing things and the old financial system would feel threatened by you opening up a new pathway for people to have power. They want the power for themselves, and they're doubling down on grabbing all the power that's available. And the only way they know how to have more power is to deprive you of power. But what they don't realize is you have infinite power inside. And so you're here to kind of help with that transition. So hopefully I didn't go down a rabbit hole too far there, but
No, no, that was very,
yeah,
very inspiring. I love this. And as you were talking about that, I thought about the shift we experience when we decide to move from the old ways of being and creating to a more heart-centered way and living our mission. And is it normal at some point during that transition to feel some kind of sadness or something similar? Because it happened to me in the past during some
yes.
transitions.
Wow. Okay. That opens up a big can of worms because you can get mired in the sadness of things. You can get mired in depression, as everyone here knows. I'm sure almost everyone here has had an experience of depression at some point in time. And depression is very intimately connected with a feeling of being disempowered, about not being able to have control over what's going on in the world around you, and not being able to connect with other beings in a meaningful way. So that can lead to depression. Now, depression is very, very different from, excuse me, from melancholy. So, melancholy is a form of sadness that you might experience as part of the healing process, as part of letting go of old energies that have never served you very well, but they're very, very familiar. The ego, the human ego, we all, as individual beings in separate bodies in this three-dimensional world, we have this ego that gives us this feeling of separateness and individuality from others. And the ego does not like change. It doesn't like anything that threatens its own individuality. And therefore, if you have been holding on to an energetic pattern for your entire life that hasn't been serving you and you're getting rid of it, you can have a deep sense of melancholy as you're letting it go, because you're letting go of something that is very familiar, and you're stepping into the abyss. The ego does not like it when you step into the abyss and embrace something new and different that it has no idea what is going to be like in the end. Your ego much prefers whatever's familiar, even if it's painful, to something that's new and bright and shiny and different, that it's never had experience with before. So your ego's in a constant state of fighting against you to slow you down, to prevent you from moving forward. And sadness is one of the tools that it has to slow you down on your pathway. So a lot of the work that we do has to do with dismantling the ego and the sense of individuality and separateness. Now, you are an individual, you are separate and distinct as long as you're in this three-dimensional reality, and you will always have an ego, but your ego doesn't need to be the master of you. There are ways that you can prevent it from slowing you down further. So a lot of times the sadness that we feel, especially when big shifts are happening in our lives, are basically just the ego putting on the brakes in the only way it knows how, or the best way that it knows how. So did that answer your question, or
Yeah, yes,
does that
yes,
help?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Okay.
does. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And do we take questions from the audience, or would you like to
Oh, I'd
share
love
more?
to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's see. Daniela, can you please unmute yourself?
Hi.
Hi.
Gosh, I didn't expect that I'm gonna go first.
Yeah. Hello. Hi.
Hi. Well, I just wanted to tell everyone how much working with Patrick have changed my life and how great this new package is. So I was, waiting until a bit later.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, last summer I found out that I'm a starseed, and my players starting to come online, and I was so overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do about it, and how to navigate everything. And then in September, I've listened to your show, Monsef. So thank you very much, because I've met Patrick through your show,
Of course.
about the intuition. So I've purchased what he said, then resonated very much with me. So I've purchased the package and did the course on intuition, and later on started working one-on-one. So it was just don't take my word for it, try it for yourself. um, because
Yeah.
it's been really amazing work, and I could see the changes in myself. I was expressing this to Patrick several times, that I feel like I'm taking a quantum leap every time we're working together.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm like in a different world now, um,
Yeah.
compared to where I was then in December.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Daniela, because what I want to say is like in the work that I've been doing with Daniela, just very quickly, so we um, don't go down this pathway for too long. But Daniela is one of those people that's on this rapid pathway of evolution. And that rapid pathway can be very confusing. Your head spinning because you're moving so fast and integrating energies on a regular daily basis that it can overwhelm your physical system. And one of the things that I've been working with Danielle on, and I'd like to work with others on as well, is that system overload that can happen, where your circuitry gets fried because there's so many upgrades and so many cosmic energies bombarding you at all times because you've opened yourself up to them. Some people have the experience of opening themselves up to new energies and cosmic energies and upgrades and so forth, and they do so much so fast that they end up frying their circuitry and then they just shut it down. Say, no more growth for me. It's too painful. It's too difficult. I'll wait to the next lifetime to do it. So if you are on that kind of rapid pathway where you're really testing your limits about how much energy your physical body can handle, um, I like working with people that are on that growth trajectory, and Daniela is one of them. So thank you, Daniela.
Thank you very much. I just want to say that, um, regarding what you said earlier, that when you do your inner work and you tend to your inner world, then your outer world will change. And
Yes,
then you heal. When you heal yourself, then you heal humanity, because when you are yourself and you shine your light, then you give permission to others as well, uh, to do the same. So
absolutely.
yeah, I was channeling earlier, because I'm channeling music. So I was channeling that song "I'm a Rock."
Mm.
That was me back then, people. Seriously, if you know that song, that was me. Like, and now, yeah, I'm totally a different person, and that is thanks to you. So thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you, Daniela. And yeah, thank you. Thank you, Patrick. And we have Lara. Can you please unmute yourself?
Mm.
Thanks, Monsaf. Thanks, Patrick. Thank you both for being here. This is my first time seeing you, and I can relate to everything that you have said. I mean, industry worker, people would come to me and I would help them in whatever way they needed. And And then I ended up having herniated discs, and I haven't been able to work for 3 years now. And I've become isolated. And, you know, I'm a Leo. I love people. I love, you know, being out there in the world. But I like you said, I've become isolated. And then there's this fear of what's going on in the world. And I, you know, I have no income because I can't work. I'm waiting, trying to get disability, you know, all of this stuff snowballing. And so now I just feel stuck.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
And you are absolutely right. We are in a period right now in which things just look very, very scary. And there is this wave of energy that's flooding through the collective consciousness that is creating simultaneously a sense of urgency and slowing things down. And unfortunately, the way this energy is working is people who are highly vulnerable are the ones that seem to be targeted the most. And you're kind of in that category right now. So see if we can create a deeper sense of personal power within you so that you can take action to navigate what's going on right now. But first, I want to address what it is that kind of created this current situation for you. And that is that a lot of starseeds feel deep down in their core that they have a mission to help other people. And they have a mission to help heal and uplift other people. And that ends up getting kind of warped over time into the feeling that it is your duty to put everybody else first. It's your duty to help other people who are in need, even if you're exhausted. It's your duty to actually impact and even break your body in order to help uplift other people. And then you end up feeling guilty when you're not able to do it. And I imagine, like in the past few years, there's been this flood of guilt erupting inside you as well. The feeling that I'm here to help other people, but I'm not able to. And therefore, their suffering is now my fault because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. And then you have that guilt layered on top of everything else. And then the frustration, the disappointment, the feeling that you're, you know, maybe you might feel that you're a failure and so forth. So I want to do like a global healing for everybody on all this mix of emotions that we have, where we give our power away. We give our power away trying to help other people everywhere because we feel it's our duty. And then after we have no more power to give away, we end up collapsing physically, emotionally, mentally, and so forth. And that's kind of what happened with you. You had this collapse after a while because you were so busy giving your energy away to other people that you had none left over for you. So let's do some healing of that for everybody and nudge us all back into the direction of realizing that yes, you are here to help other people, but that doesn't mean that it's your duty. It doesn't mean that you are at fault or it's your fault if you're not able to help all people everywhere. So many of you have heard me say this over and over again. It's one of my favorite phrases that um, you are all called to live a life of service. But living a life of service does not mean that you are a servant. So we're opening up for everyone how to and what it feels like to live a life of service on your terms without ever becoming a servant to anybody. Because what happened with you and what happens with a lot of other people in the group is that um, other beings recognize that you're willing to bend over backward to help out. And so they take advantage of you. They begin to take you for granted. And then they get angry with you if you don't drop anything and come help them. And then at that point, you're kind of trapped. And then once again, one of the solutions is isolating yourself. You didn't choose isolation, but your subconscious mind chose for you because that was one of the only pathways left to you in order to help you with your survival. So we want to just do a global healing of all of this interconnected mythological set of belief systems. So it is a mythology. A mythology is a collection of interrelated beliefs about how the universe operates and what your place is in it and how things unfold narratively in your life. So it's like a combination of the myth of the blind seer and the starving artist kind of melded into one. Okay, beautiful. I want to more deeply connect you and everybody else in the group with your core, your seat of power deep inside you that allows you to take control of your physical healing and the environment that you're living in. Beautiful. So everyone take a really deep breath and hold it for a moment. And release when you're ready. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Did that help at all?
The words you said definitely helped. My whole life I've been a doormat and codependent, and I learned how to not be that way, but I was still, when COVID hit, I stopped waitressing. I got fired, honestly, for fear of people. And then I started doing shifts, and it was like, I have to help these people get their groceries. I got to help them because they can't go to the store. And that's when my back went out.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, everything that you're saying definitely makes sense. I guess I just feel like I don't know how to get out of it.
Yeah. And that drive to help other people is a beautiful, beautiful characteristic that we would never want to get rid of. What we want to temper it with is the knowledge that your needs come first, and that you really only have the energy to help other people get their groceries and so forth when your needs are met, and therefore you're healthy and strong to do it. I think your
Put your oxygen
subconscious
mask.
mind, yeah. What's that?
Sorry, I said, gotta put your oxygen mask on first on the plane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Beautiful.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura.
Yeah. Thank you, Lara. And yeah, thank you, Patrick, for the guidance and the attunements. And yeah, we have more questions. We will take them in a few minutes. Just for now, I would love if you can tell us about the Starseed harmonics, which are really related to the subject today, because there are sessions and attunements that can help us in surviving and thriving in this 3D world, in addition to a one-on-one session and lucid dreaming workshop. And I invite everyone to follow us on the page, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Patrick, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Patrick, PATRICK. Or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live event page, later on the replay page. The link also on YouTube video description and the chat boxes on Zoom and YouTube. And yeah, so Patrick, I would love if you can tell us about this program.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And I can't believe that 45 minutes has already passed. It feels like we just started. So I have over the years created a number of different empowerment audio packages, and they all have the word harmonics in the title. And the reason they're all about harmonics is because it's about shifting your internal energy so that you can vibrate a new energetic pattern that allows whatever shifts we're trying to create to unfold automatically without too much effort. So in this package, it's Starseed Harmonics. It's all about creating a brand new energetic pattern inside you that allows you to embrace your life's purpose and fulfill your mission, to demystify the human experience, to navigate the three-dimensional reality with grace and ease, and also to help you connect with other star beings and even your place of origin so that you can feel like you're part of something much bigger than this limited three-dimensional human experience. So the program or the package is divided up into two halves. The first half is about thriving, excuse me. The first half is about surviving in this three-dimensional reality. And the second half is how to thrive and complete your purpose and mission. So we go through a number of limiting belief systems that starseeds often have about themselves and about human experience. We clear away some of the most common physical issues that starseeds face. We have a clearing of the drive for isolation and introversion and alienation. Now, it's not bad to be introverted, but if you feel loneliness and pain as a result of it and disconnection and you're not doing your mission, then it becomes a problem. We deal with the issue of empathic overwhelm, the way it's painful to go into a crowded location because you can feel all the energy of everyone everywhere and it drives you crazy. We clear away some of the traumatic experiences that weigh you down. We allow your physical body to navigate the three-dimensional world with all of the toxins and all the stressors of modern life. And then we do a deactivation of the spiritual ego so you don't develop a sense of superiority because you have access to tools that other people don't. And therefore, you end up shutting your whole growth process down because spiritual ego kills growth. So that's the first module. The second module is about thriving. So it includes a self-love activation that's super powerful, a session on how to embrace your starseed identity and your mission, a session on how to align your bodies and your timelines in such a way that things are spatially lined up within your energy field, and therefore your body gets the nourishment it needs for you to do what you need to do. A section on money management for starseeds, because as I mentioned before, we tend to come from a place where money doesn't exist. There's a different energetic means of exchange, and therefore money is just confusing. It befuddles us. So this helps you with that. Stargate activations so that you can create a portal that will allow you to travel to other dimensions and other worlds and to communicate with beings that you feel disconnected from here on planet Earth. And then your light body activations. That is the creation of the Merkaba and your crystal grid work so that you can be thoroughly empowered in your physical form and have deep access to higher dimensionality, even as you are living in a three-dimensional physical experience. And then on top of that, there are some surprise bonuses that you'll discover if you sign up for the package. Yeah. So that's package A. And then package B is all of that plus a very, very powerful lucid dreaming workshop in which I meticulously give you a set of tools that will allow you to start lucid dreaming almost immediately. And of course, lucid dreaming is where you have your deepest power. It opens up the portal to your subconscious mind and to alternate dimensions so that you can create permanent shifts in whatever your whatever issues you have in life. And then package B also includes a private one-on-one session with me, an hour-long session in which ideally we would help you integrate what's in the package, but we can use it for whatever you want to focus on instead. Yeah, so I think it's powerful. So yeah.
Yeah, it is. Thank you so much, Patrick. Always an honor to share your work with our audience here on the show. And yeah, really, I love the energy that you share, and we all feel it here, like the authenticity and the love you put into what you are sharing with us. And yeah, feel very happy that you are sharing your programs with us here on the show. So thank you again.
Thank you.
And again, everyone, I invite you to sign up to one of these two packages on the link yourdivineuniqueness.com/Patrick, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Patrick, Patrick. or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page. The link also on YouTube video description and the chat boxes on Zoom and on YouTube. And yeah, we have Taylor. Can you please unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Patrick and Monsef.
Welcome.
Both of you gentlemen have such beautiful spirits. I love being around you all.
Thank you.
And so Patrick, one of the things is that I'm told, and I feel it, that I'm very sensitive and I pick up a lot of negative energy wherever I go. It's like I'm porous, like I'm a sponge. And then there was an entity that was, I guess, kind of hiding in the shadows. And I feel like it could have been mine originally, but I'm not sure if it wasn't just something that I picked up because of the negative things that I pick up because I am like a porous sponge. How can I prevent this from happening? And what is this, because right now I'm living somewhere, I'm moving, but I want to, while I'm here, no longer pick up that negativity. And I could feel it. When people are driving by and they're thinking nasty things about me, I will get a headache.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. So the first thing that we need to do for you and for everyone else is to help you take control of your intuition in such a way that you can turn it up whenever you want to, and then you can turn it down whenever it's working against you. Now, a lot of people go down the pathway of putting really heavy shields around themselves. And I think shielding is important, especially when you know that you're going into a place where there's a lot of negative energy. And the best type of shield is the type of shield that actually reflects the energy back to whoever it came from so they can get a taste of it themselves and maybe choose something different. But the problem with shielding is that if you go through life constantly wearing shields all the time, then by the law of attraction, those shields justify their own existence after a while. The shielding that you carry at all times creates an energetic pattern that basically says to the universe, I need to shield myself, and therefore more stuff gets uh, reflected to you, and therefore the shield is justified. So the shielding, we kind of want to undo that a little bit so that you're not so heavily laden, and instead install what I call an intuitive dimmer switch so that you can turn it down or at least make it so that the energy that bombards you kind of slides off of you rather than being absorbed in you like a sponge. And the problem that we have as these multidimensional beings in a three-dimensional body is you have practically infinite space inside you to absorb energies. And therefore, you're just, that sponge never fills up. You're a sponge, but that sponge almost has an infinite capacity to absorb more and more. So if we make it so that the energy kind of slides off of you, and you're able to turn down your intuition whenever you need to, and then you can kind of let go of the shielding that you have to some degree so you're not weighed down at all times by it, then that goes a long way to helping you manage your internal energy. Is that making sense?
Yes, yes. And how do I keep the entities?
Yeah,
Because
so that's the second part.
okay.
The entities that you're describing are very opportunistic. So
Mm,
they're just looking for somebody that's easy to feed off of.
mhm.
And the reason they're attracted to you is because they see that you are essentially an all you can eat buffet for the pain of other people. Yeah. So what we need to do is two things. We need to make a very, very subtle shift in your energy field that actually makes you taste bad to the entities. And the way
Okay.
you do that is by really infusing a deep, powerful energy of joy, because the sustenance that these dark entities are trying to gather is the feeling of pain. That's the food that they're looking for. They want to feed off of your pain and feed off the pain that you are holding on to on behalf of other people, because that's what they're hungry for. But if you have a deeper infusion of joy energy in your energy field, you won't taste as good, and they'll move on to something else. The other thing is that we need to really establish your autonomy, your sense of autonomy and your boundaries and your borders, because there really is um, a vampire principle, which basically says vampires cannot come into your home unless you invite them on some level. It's part of vampire lore that they cannot come into your house unless you've invited them in. Of course, that's all metaphorical, but there's a kernel of truth in there that dark entities will not attach themselves to you unless you believe that they can, or that you're susceptible to them on some level, unless you've invited them in on some level. Doesn't mean that you asked for it. It just means that there's a belief system in there that has left the window open for them. So we want to clear that away as well. So this is like a two-part energy process. It's a type of thing that could take an entire hour to do, but I just want to expand the energy through everyone as much as possible to help you have more conscious control of your empathy, so you can turn it up and down, on and off as you wish. You can have this nice coating of energy around you that allows energy to slide off of you rather than get sucked into that infinite sponge. Can allow you to drop the shielding that over time justifies its own existence. Okay, and then we can subtly shift your internal energy by infusing unconditional love and joy in order to make you just not taste good to the entities that want to feed off of you. Okay, and as we're doing that, we firmly declare and establish autonomy, that no being is allowed to connect to you, to hook into you, to feed off of you without your explicit permission and your informed consent. And the informed consent part is very important because, right now we're talking about entities that are just opportunistic. There are other entities that have more consciousness and therefore more wiliness, and they're more manipulative, and they can convince you to let them in by manipulating you. But it's not what we're working on right now. It's beautiful. Everyone take a really deep breath and hold it for a moment. Oh, and release when you're ready. How do you feel?
I'm feeling better. I feel because I could feel like a big siphon of energy come in and come around me, because I was really concerned about every day putting up that. It just seemed like an arduous task to put up that shield every day and
Yeah.
block the mirrors and block people and blah blah blah. And then I felt like it also takes me away from people, and I am overly empathic. So thank you so much, because
Yeah,
it was
thank
like,
you.
what the heck? I cried when a Smurf died. I mean, like animals, I stop and give them light. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like I'm just overly like sensitive. I don't know how I got like this. I used to pray that God take this away from me, but now I think it's just a part of me. I just need to know how to manage it better.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. In fact, it's a gift. So, yeah,
Thank you. Thank you
thank you.
so much. Thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Jim.
Yeah. Thank you, Taylor, and thank you, Patrick. And let's see. We have Charlene. Can you please unmute yourself?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Charlene.
Hi there, Patrick. Yes, thank you both for being here. I appreciate it, my Cleve. And the question I have is, what are your thoughts on silent meditations, being in silence, and versus the, not versus, but also doing the non-silent meditations to where communicating with your higher self or your team.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, well, there's value in both. And I wouldn't say that any one approach to meditation is superior to any other. You may have a stronger need for one type of meditation over another, but I think it is an unbelievably powerful tool to be able to silence the mind and shut down all of that mental chatter that tends to distract us and prevent us from seeing the world clearly. So there's a lot of power in silent meditation in which you are trying to just get beyond the cognitive mind, shut that down so you can open up a deeper awareness of what's going on in the world around you and how energy flows, and step out of the constant um, cognitive evaluation of what's happening into your life so that you can begin to respond spontaneously to what's happening around you. So there's a lot of value in that, but there's also a lot of value in the other methods that you mentioned that are more cognitive in nature. So I would recommend doing both and seeing which one serves you better, which one gives you the most progress. Um, Whatever tool you choose, they can all be super powerful if you're in alignment with them working for you. So there's this principle that I often bring up that it's all about your internal orientation and your internal energy. There are a million meditative techniques out there, and every single one of them can work if you believe internally that they will work for you. So what we want to do is create this internal situation where you no longer have the feeling, okay, this is a waste of time. This isn't working for me. This is too complicated. This is too difficult. I don't think I'm doing it right, and so forth. Kind of get rid of all of that so that no matter what meditative technique you choose, it works for you. This is a principle that works with everything in life. It's success, for example. You can study a million different strategies for success, but if you're internally out of alignment with success energy itself, none of those strategies will work very well. If you are internally in alignment with success, then it doesn't matter what strategy you use, they will all work for you. And the same thing holds true for the meditation. So, just choose your favorite. And then we want to shift all those belief systems that say this isn't working for you. Is that making sense?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Super one quick question. I do Reiki sessions, and what are your thoughts on doing sessions on that one person or so many times, and after a while it seems like it's just kind of like a routine healing, and putting them through, giving
Yeah.
them, helping them with their upper vibrate frequency, or raising it up, and then just
Yeah.
kind of continuing that all the time.
So the thing that I'm picking up is that we need to do a little internal shift for you and for several other people in the group as well. Right now, you are attracting into your life mostly people who need maintenance. And what I'm sensing is that you don't really enjoy working with the clients who need maintenance. You want to work with the ones who are looking for breakthroughs and growth, and they get the healing, and then they no longer need you anymore. So there's kind of a feeling of excitement about that type of client, but for whatever reason, you're attracting mostly people who have a growth trajectory, then it leads into just maintenance over time,
Mhm.
and that doesn't really work for you. So whatever it is that created the situation where people who are looking for maintenance, and the experience that they will have is one of constant maintenance rather than explosive growth, we need to shift whatever it is that causes you to attract those clients and not the others that you would find more interesting and compelling. Doesn't mean that you have to abandon them. It just means that as you're shifting your energy internally and come to a belief that you actually do have the gifts and the skills that will allow people to have massive breakthroughs, then those people will start coming to you. Is that making sense?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So we all need to, those of you who are practitioners, it's very important to have a very clear understanding of who your ideal client is, and then shift your energy to match your ideal client. But when we're first starting out and so forth, we often feel we have to take everyone everywhere. Can't say no to somebody who's a bad match for you because then you're turning away business and so forth. But just want to bring you and everyone else into a deeper alignment with who you truly desire to work with, so that the ones who feel, you still like them, you still enjoy working with them, but
Hmm.
they're just not fulfilling for you. You want them to move
Yes.
on to somebody else. Is that making sense?
Yes. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charlene. And thank you, Patrick, for the guidance and support. And we have a question from Elfrid. Can you please unmute yourself?
She looks frozen on the screen. Yeah.
Elfrid, maybe it's the connection.
Yeah, I think her internet is spotty because her image is frozen. Well, while
Okay.
she's waiting to come on,
We
I did see a very important question about
from Lara?
where is it? Yeah. From Laura,
Yeah.
yes.
What?
What if you are filled with pain, physical and emotional? Even though I'm working on it in therapy, it's not easy to feel joy a lot of the time. So this opens up a really big can of worms. In Lightbridge, in order for you to truly inhabit a new experience, you need to be able to feel and savor the joy of whatever that experience is. So, how can you go about feeling joy if you've never really had an experience of joy in this lifetime? How can you go about establishing a new energetic pattern that is alien to you if your entire life you've only ever had the opposite of it or the absence of it? So, unconditional love. We want to install and expand and have unconditional love flourish in everyone. But if you've never had an experience of unconditional love in this lifetime, it's going to be practically impossible for you to understand what that feels like. You can understand it through polarity because you know what the pain of conditional um, fake love is, but that doesn't really tell you what unconditional love truly feels like. So it often involves a lot of work. We can do it through past life regression because you have had joyful lifetimes in the past, and we can tap into those. We can do it through infusions of energy, but often they just kind of splash through you if they're unfamiliar to you. But the technique that I use most often are called attunements. Attunements are essentially the installation of a brand new energetic pattern inside your current egoic persona. And you can get these energetic patterns, these blueprints, from all sorts of higher sources, angelic attunements, attunements from Jesus or from God or from one of your spirit guides or whatever. They can all offer up blueprints for energetic patterns that you can then install into your current egoic system. But for me, I go to the higher self because your higher self is you. It already knows what you need to do. It has a vested interest in you doing what you need to do. And therefore, it's a really, really good source of blueprints for energetic patterns that you don't have. So, one of the ways to do that is to have an attunement for joy energy as it's understood and experienced by your higher self. And so, let's just do that really quickly for everyone. So, want to get connected to your higher self. Have you feel the connection that already exists with your higher self. And we're going to draw forth the blueprint or the template for joy energy as it's understood and enjoyed by your higher self. And we're going to take that blueprint and install it into your energy field in your current egoic persona now. And then do whatever shifts we need to do in order to allow it to take root inside you. So you can now know how to and what it feels like to stir up joy whenever you need to. Okay, and you know that you're worthy of it. You know it's safe for you to feel joy. You feel comfortable with the joy. In fact, it defines your very existence because it is an energetic pattern that is installed in you at your deepest core level. Beautiful. Everyone take a deep breath and hold it for a moment. Oh, and release when you're ready. Okay. Thank you. Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Patrick, for the attunement and the guidance. And thank you, Lara, for the question. Yeah, we have, maybe we take one more. Can we take one more question?
Yes, I think Elfrida's back.
No, she didn't, or they
No,
didn't.
she is. Yeah, she's back on the screen now.
Okay, so where is, yeah. Can you please unmute yourself, Alfred, if you want to? Yeah, okay.
Oh, hello. Good to be
Hello.
here. Well, I'm at the stage where I need to get out of isolation and create the thriving, and I think this thing about this lucid dreaming might be useful for me or something. I want to create, maybe moving to Hawaii and be part of a community and just enjoy life and, being in a place where I resonate. I don't know, but I need to dream it up first.
Mhm. Yes, yes. Yes. So if you have goals that are in the abstract, so I want to move to Hawaii, that's a step in the direction of accomplishing that goal. But if it's purely on the mental level, there's not a lot of energy in it. And then what most human beings develop over time is what I call yes, but energy. You can determine what your desires are and say, okay, this is my goal. My goal is to move to Bali within 5 years, or to move to Hawaii or Sedona or wherever else. But then your cognitive mind steps in and says, yes, that's awesome, but here are all the reasons why it won't happen. Here are all the challenges. 5 years, 5 years from now, it's still 5 years. So you just never make that progress. So what we want to do is create a deeper emotional connection with whatever your desire is, and kind of pour energy into the feeling of what it would be like to have it, even if you don't have it yet, even if there are challenges in the way from getting it. That's that radiant energy that you have. Of course, it radiates at all times. If you're in the radiant energy of yes, but, you will only ever get reflected back to you, yes, but, by the universe. So we want to get into the joyful feeling of what it would be like to have it now, even if you don't have it yet, and have that be the energy that you radiate. So that's part of it. The other part of it is um, being willing to take action when opportunities arise, because opportunities exist all around you, but quite often, because of the yes but energy, we either ignore them or we don't even see them at all. So very little happens unless you take action to make it happen. And taking action, it doesn't have to be grand. It could just be a little step in the direction that you want to move. And I think a lot of us, especially these days, we have action paralysis because every action that we want to take feels so fraught with danger and consequences that it just feels safer to do nothing. So just want to ease that burden for everyone right now, that feeling that it's safer to do nothing than it is to take a chance on your own happiness.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Is that making sense or is that helpful at all?
Oh, yes, right on.
Okay, wonderful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Alfred. Much love. And yeah, thank you very much, Patrick. So grateful to you for all the support you gave to our audience and
Thank you.
the guidance, the energies you shared, the attunements. Yeah, it was such a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's always a joy to be here. Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful. And everyone, thank you so much for being here with us today, sharing with us the space and time, and co-creating with us the experience. Your presence also is very important, and yeah, thank you for the questions, the comments, and again, I invite you to sign up for one of the packages that are included in the program that Patrick is offering to us, and the link is yourdivineuniqueness.com/Patrick, yourdivineuniqueness.com/Patrick, Patrick. Or you can click on the special offer button, which is on the live events page, later on the replay page. The link also on YouTube video description, and the chat boxes on Zoom and YouTube. And the first package A, includes Starseed harmonics, survive and thrive in this three-dimensional world. Package B includes the Starseed harmonics plus lucid dreaming workshop, plus 15-minute one-on-one integration session, plus other bonuses that you will discover when you sign up. And yeah, so with that, everyone, I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you on the next call. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.